Hi, food friends. It's Kevin.
That's Kevin there, and I'm Ralph behind the camera over here.
Yeah.
What are we making today, Kev?
Well, we are going to make chicken paprikash.
Oh, one of my favorites.
It is.
And that's a classic dish for you. I know you've made it a lot of times.
I have. And it's a Hungarian dish. And this is a great dish to use your electric skillet. And if you have an electric skillet, and many of you do, this is a great chance to use it because this lends itself very well to an electric skillet. Now,
this is also a dish your mom used to make, right?
Yes, Mom made it, and but this is something that I've just always loved. And what I've got heating up here is 3 tablespoons of butter, and I'm also going to put in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay.
Okay.
So I like to mix butter and olive oil because butter
burns quicker.
It does, and so the olive oil kind of helps stretch it out a little bit
because it cooks slower.
Now, there's lots of slow, old world ways of making chicken paprikash. This is actually a way that takes some shortcuts, but really delivers a flavorful dish in a lot less time. Nothing wrong with doing it in the old traditional way, but we're going to do it this way. What I've got here is boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Now, we like the dark meat because it's juicier and
I think it has more flavor.
You think it has more flavor, and I think it does too.
Well, sometimes dried chicken, white meat chicken can be cooked.
It can dry out
to the point of dryness, but I've had it where it's prepared well.
So what we're going to do is we're using boneless chicken thighs, skinless. I'm going to take about 2 tablespoons of Hungarian paprika. Now there's a lot of different paprika out there. There's Spanish paprika, Hungarian, which is a sweeter paprika. I'm going to take some kosher salt. We're going to put that in there. And then we're going to some nice ground pepper.
So the Hungarian paprika, is that kind of a spicy flavor or more of a barbecue flavor?
No, you're thinking of smoked.
Okay.
There's smoked paprika, which has a smokiness to it. This is Hungarian paprika, which is milder. There's a Spanish paprika. There's what they call a hot paprika, which it uses a different kind of. It's basically, paprika is dried peppers that are ground up into a powder. That's what paprika is. And depending on the kind of pepper is how hot or mild or sweet the paprika ends up being. So you can see I'm just giving this a coat here. We will add more paprika in, but I'm going to take our chicken thighs here, and I've got this at about 350 degrees.
So
we're going to brown them.
Have we cut any shortcuts yet? Made any shortcuts yet, or is this?
Traditionally, you would make this using
like a marinade.
Well, you would use whole
chicken.
Yeah,
chicken parts.
Yep, chicken parts.
But as far as the preparation and the what you're doing with this coating, is that pretty traditional, or is this a shortcut?
Well, this is pretty traditional. I think. You know what? It's like everything else. Somebody out there is going to say, well, you know what?
We do it this way.
My mom always did it this way. That's the beauty of cooking, and especially ethnic food, because everybody has their own way. Polish food, Mexican food, Italian food. People come from different regions. They have different methodologies of preparing. But what we're going to do is we're going to get our chicken thighs browned up, okay, in here. And I'm going to clean up a little bit, and then we're going to take them out. But here's other classic ingredients that go into a paprikash. We have our paprika, which is mild. Now this is something, I'm going to put in a little chili flakes towards the end. That will give it a little heat. Onions, of course. You got to have onions. You got to have sour cream. I like to put in a little heavy cream also, just to add to the richness. And you have to have tomatoes. I'm using a big 28-ounce can of plum tomatoes here. Traditionally, chicken paprikash is served over what they call like a spretzel, which is like a dumpling
or a noodle?
Almost. Or an egg noodle is another classic way to have it. You know what? We're serving it over tagliatelle, which is like a almost like a linguine. It's a pasta. So that's what we're going to have. You know why? Because that's what we had in the pantry. So we love to use what we have on hand.
That's right.
But you could make dumplings, or you're getting my dirty hands. All right, I'm going to clean up, and we'll come back when our chicken is nice and browned in the pan. Chicken paprikash.
And Dusty Springfield in the background.
Oh, she's awesome.
Wow, doesn't that look good?
You like that?
Yeah, so you've browned both sides. And
so both sides have been browned, as you can see. Beautiful. I'm going to take this out now.
And you, I noticed before you were turning them, you were kind of checking for pinkness and making sure that everything got nice and thoroughly cooked.
Right, and the chicken's going to cook some more. We're going to return the chicken to the skillet, but
this is really, like you said, for the browning.
Right, for the browning.
Not the thorough cooking.
You can see what happens. The paprika gives this an absolutely beautiful color.
It does.
But what this also does is it creates... Whoops, let me get this. He's giving me a hard time. Okay, so there's our chicken. So, but what this does is, you see these little bits down at the bottom?
Oh, don't tell me you're going to make a delicious gravy out of it.
Well, it will end up, but browning creates flavor. This flavor is in these little bits.
Oh, I love it.
Now we're going to take our onions.
Oh, yes.
So we've got a little chicken fat in here now that is rendered out. Not that the thighs had that much fat on it, but they had a little. So we've got the butter,
I like how
the olive oil.
And you're making use out of, everything you're using.
And we're going to scrape up the bottom here of the skillet.
Oh, doesn't that smell wonderful?
And
It really does.
We're going to brown our onions now in the basically the fat with the paprika. Okay. So we're going to get our onions brown. It's going to take a few minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll come on back and add the rest of our ingredients and start making our sauce. We're going to bring this water up to a boil over here.
So meanwhile, you've got your pot ready for the noodles.
Exactly. So we'll get those cooked. But that's it. So it's starting to come together. So here's our onions. They're nice and soft. It's kind of hard to tell whether or not they've browned up a little bit because of the paprika, but you want to get them so they're translucent and, nice and soft to the bite. They'll cook a little bit more. We're going to make our sauce now. Okay? So here's what I've got. We got plum tomatoes.
So 28 ounce can, you put the whole thing in?
Yeah, we're going to put the whole thing in.
Those look like some quality canned tomatoes, too.
I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. So I'm going to put a little water in this can.
Oh yeah, my mom used to always do that, so you don't waste.
We want to get all
Don't waste any of that goodness.
These are tomatoes in like a puree, and I want to get all that beautiful tomatoey sauce out of here.
Okay.
Now I want these tomatoes to cook down a little bit because we're going to actually kind of smush them, but they've got to cook. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put the cover on the pan here. Let me just kind of get things stirred around. Because now we're going to have some nice, it will end up with some really nice textures. Okay? We'll end up with
little chunks of this and little bites of that.
of onion, little chunks of tomato. Okay? But I'm also going to take this opportunity to put, now we had 2 tablespoons of paprika on the chicken.
On the coating, okay.
We're going to put another tablespoon of paprika in the sauce here, and our chili flakes. Now, it depends how spicy you like it. I'm going to start with this, and I always give them a little squeeze because it helps release
breaks out some
the
of the
oils.
The what's it called?
Capsaicin.
Capsaicin.
Okay. So let's stir that paprika, and you can see the sauce almost turns this beautiful brownish red color.
Like a deep, almost chocolatey red.
So we're going to let the tomatoes hang out in this sauce because the tomatoes are firm right now. So they're going to get softened as they cook, and then we'll be able to press them down and get some of the liquid that's hiding inside those beautiful canned tomatoes out, and it'll create sort of a thicker sauce for us as well. So let's put the lid on. All right, about 10 minutes. So let's kind of check it out here.
Yeah, it looks like you were able to mash those chunks mostly all down.
Yeah, once the tomatoes really soften, they'll soften as they cook, and you can see we don't have a potato masher here, but
oh, so you could use a potato masher on this. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would use normally. But
I've got one.
We're in Uncle Ralph's kitchen, and so this is sort of an improvisation kitchen, which is great. All right, so
it's a challenge.
Now we've got our nice tomatoes, but you can look how wonderfully
integrated the onions are with
everything. And how the sauce has really
splattered.
Pardon me, but how it has really thickened up. But that's because of the tomatoes now are
reducing.
Yep, and as they're breaking down. So okay,
it's looking good.
So now, what we're going to do is when we make a tomato sauce, tomatoes always, have a certain acidic content. And I'm going to put just a pinch, and I mean like, maybe about a quarter of a teaspoon to a half a teaspoon of sugar. You don't really taste the sugar, but it kind of
cuts the acidity.
Yeah, it neutralizes the acidity a little bit. All right. Now, we're going to take our sour cream.
Wait, I thought you said this shouldn't be cooking. Is it?
It's not. It's just warm.
Oh, you turned it down?
Yeah. Okay. It's down to the warming setting.
Okay.
Okay. So, we're not going to be bubbling it up anymore. But we're going to take our sour cream, and I've got probably almost a cup of sour cream here. I'm going to put in
a couple of dollops.
Yeah, that's probably a good half a cup. And we're going to work that in. It's kind of got to melt in. Whoop. But this is why you can see why the electric skillet is just perfect for.
I can smell the sour cream now too. It smells really good mixed with those other flavors. I don't know if cream cheese would do anything, but I have some cream cheese in the.
Well, cream cheese would probably take it in the same vein as the
whipping
sour cream. We could put in whole milk or something.
I was going to mention. I don't know if it's
half and half.
If it's this sauce I've seen you make, but I seem to remember mushrooms. Is that something you do sometimes with the paprikash?
I have, yes. You can, this is a natural dish to add mushrooms to.
Okay.
So, now, what are we going to do? We are going to we're going to lay our chicken. Beautiful. And look at that. We want to see that flavorful broth.
Oh, that's pouring right in. It's like extra flavor. That look
We're going to put this right in.
Wow, so that's all going to cook together before it goes...
And we're just going to warm this all through now, okay?
But it's more than warming. You're actually cooking the chicken, aren't you?
Yes, really, the chicken's all but cooked already. But what we want to do is we want the flavors to
get into it.
Kind of meld
into the chicken parts. Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So, now we're going to put our lid back on. Again, I just have it on warm, not even on simmer. And we're going to let that hang out. Now, let's come on over here, Ralph. Our water is ready. So, what we do when we make our pasta, we're going to put in a little salt. And let's drop in our little nests. Let's see, that should be about enough, don't you think? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, let this bring back up to a boil. Like I said, this is kind of, I'm throwing all these little broken pieces. This is sort of like a fettuccine. You know, when you look at it in terms of the width of the noodle.
Mm-hmm. The thickness.
Yeah.
Tagliatelle or something it's called?
Tagliatelle. So we're going to let the pasta cook, and then we'll come on back and put it all together on a plate, and it'll be time to eat chicken paprikash. Wow. So here it is.
Voila, chicken paprikash.
Chicken paprikash. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a couple pieces of our nice chicken thighs here.
Put them on the
some
noodles.
Of that beautiful sauce. And then perfect garnish for this is some
top with a little parsley.
Fresh parsley. We're serving what is that, a Syrah? What kind of wine is that?
I got it for Christmas from my sister Mary Ellen, who got it. She went to a vineyard in California, and I have to check to be sure what it is, but I know it's a good quality wine because she loves it. So
let's see.
It's a Merlot from the Sterling Vineyards.
Okay. So there it is.
Bon appetit, chicken paprikash.
So you've got this wonderful sauce, and I'm going to just take a corner here, little end of the chicken.
Come out good.
That wonderful paprika flavor. So, chicken paprikash, it was almost an oh my gosh, because we didn't have heavy cream, but it turned out wonderful. And you know what? It didn't take that long, actually.
No, you did this in, it felt like under an hour.
You know, yeah, about 40 minutes from start to finish. So it's a good, quick dish.
Is the chef happy with the way it came out?
Very. So, anyways, thanks for being a part of this one. We had a great time with this recipe. Hope you did too. And we'll see you next time.
On Cavalcade of Food. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.